Hello, everyone. My name is Ona Anthony Osita, and I'm the team lead for Metallic Care Foundation, the organization that's actually been in charge of the Blue Behind Bars initiative. So today, I'm here to answer a lot of questions. So many people have been asking us, what who are those people? What are those people in charge of this initiative? What is the initiative is all about? What is the ideology behind the Blown Behind Bars, and what do we stand for? Why do we go to prisons, to the Nigerian correctional facilities to educate and also facilitate inmates, training them in agricultural skills? So a lot of people want to know, and today I am here to explain and also carry us on a journey on what we've done so far, what we are doing, and the idea or what we intend to achieve in the future. So first I will need to explain what the organization stands for. So in summary, I'm going to give us more like a vision, which is what we stand for, and what we intend to do, because it's important for we to carry people along, because we've discovered that with the few exercises we've done, a lot of people are actually interested in this race, and it's important for we to explain to people why we are doing what we are doing, what is the goal, what do we want to really achieve, and what's actually the motivation behind this thing. So many people, in fact, I have a few friends who have always asked me, amongst people I could empower with agricultural skills, why inmates, why the prison? So the major thing I always tell people is, first thing we need to always think of is that these people are human beings. They sleep at night, they wake up in the morning, they eat just like the way you do, they breathe the same air we breathe, and they do almost the same thing in common, but it's just the fact that they are where they are. So even though they find themselves there, it shouldn't be like the end of the world, but rather we need to give them hope, and as long as there is life, there is hope. And in life generally, most of us will always seek for a second chance, and this is more like a second chance for anyone who is reasonable, to embrace this skill, to embrace what we are sharing, and what we are trying to transfer to them, which is knowledge. We as youths, we're young people doing this thing. We are young people who have been able to acquire skill in agriculture through the soilless farm and soilless agricultural practices, where we acquired the skill from Pepsi Place Limited in Abeokuta. So, but today we are writing our stories to inspire people who are vulnerable. So the organization is called Metallic Care Foundation, and our major vision is to impact lives and improve the standard of living through agriculture, arts, and entrepreneurship. That's the summary. So we don't really have much time to start explaining the whole goal, the whole vision, and all of that, but in summary, that is our goal. Our goal is to use agriculture as a tool for development. I'm going to share with us some of the SDG goals, goal 3 and goal 8, which is one of our major crusaders. We have SDG goal 3, which has to do with good health and well-being, ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being for all, including those in prison. The thing is that when you could Google this, you could check it anywhere, that even the SDG also have provisions for those behind bars, those in prison, so these include addressing issues like overcrowding, which negatively impacts prisoners, their prisoners' health, ensuring access to healthcare, including mental health services. So these are things that the SDG also encourage. Even though you find yourself in an environment like that, it is important that there are provisions, for people who find themselves there, because if I could remember, in August 15, 2019, which was when the Nigerian prison service was officially changed to Nigerian Correctional Service. The ideology of the Correctional Service is to practically inform the society that this institution can rehabilitate, can correct and repair, so, and to my greater surprise, when I had to go through the SDG goals, and I looked at SDG goal 8. Goal 8 has to do with decent work and economic growth. This goal focuses on promoting inclusive and sustainable economic goals, which has to do with productive employment. It has to do with decent work for all, which means it includes prisoners, it includes inmates rather. So inmates could be involved in sustainable initiatives that contributes to the economic growth and development of the society. So which means that when, in fact, they further even explain that, such as a green project in prison. So when I actually look at these things and I saw that we already had a backing, we also looked at what are the major key things the institution would accept and would embrace, and agriculture was more like one of the primary things that could come into the facility and also help, encourage and also help improve these people. And to our greatest surprise, we were able to put up more like a trial, and today we can share testimonies. We are still at the beginning stage to share our testimony, because we have a long way to go. So far we have reached out to different Nigerian correctional facilities, and our goal is to cut across the 200 and over 200 prison facilities that we have in Nigeria, because we have more than 200 of them. And our major goal is to also go beyond Nigeria, also impact other prison facilities in Africa. But as we have started from this point, with encouragement from what we've experienced at Oba Prison Facility, it's really a testimony. So what we'll be doing from now henceforth is to carry us on the journey, is to consistently explain what we've been doing, how we've been able to achieve these things. I know so many people have questions to ask. We'll take our time to treat questions, and you could also further drop your comments or questions on the comment section, so we look at it every week. We do a review, because one of the things we try to do is that we visit the prison every week, and doing that every week helps us to get reports. It helps us to get reports on their practices, and at this point we will also consistently inform people, the society, about what we are doing. And for those who have even visited and they've reached out to us to congratulate us on what we've achieved so far, we also want to say thank you. We also want to say thank you for what you've been doing. We've had different calls from both organization, religion, organization, and individuals to appreciate what we've done so far at Oba Prison. And I'm also going to explain in this video what we've done so far. So, like I said, it's called Bloom Behind Bars. Bloom Behind Bars, just like the way it sounds, is inspired, like I said before, these people are human beings, and we believe in second chance. We believe that they should also have an opportunity to explore their creative mind. So one of the things we did was last year, we started this race last year as an organization. The Bloom Behind Bars is actually an initiative of Metallic Care Foundation. So we have different initiatives. We have Bloom Behind Bars, we have Farm Arts, which is under the art department, because we have a unit that has to do with creative arts. Then we also have the entrepreneurship. So under the agricultural units, we have the Bloom Behind Bars, and we also have what we call the clinic farm. But the clinic farm is still more like in the brainstorming session, So over time, we would launch the clinic farms. But so far, Bloom Behind Bars is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to really talk more about Bloom Behind Bars and the ideology and what we've been doing so far, our journey so far. So last year, the journey started last year when my team and I came together and said, as part of our primary social responsibility, we are going to empower. We have this agricultural skill, and we've been doing agribusiness, in our own private sector. We have a limited company called Metallic Integrated Technology. So we now decided that as part of our social responsibility and as part of our postulates, we are going to impact those who are vulnerable. So we put up a list of, those in the clinic, those in hospital, orphanage. There were different lists, names we had in the list. So later on, we looked at, amongst all this list, the prison became more interesting when we started our approach, and we started doing our research about the Nigerian Correctional Service. Then we discovered a lot of things, which means there were a lot of things to solve. Our major focus was to solve problems because there was a lot, and we don't really have that resources to say we want to visit all the correctional service in Nigeria and we begin to solve this problem. The problems are big, but we thank God that our vision is bigger than us. So with the fact that our vision is bigger than us, we believe that we could solve some of this major problem. And what could be the tool to solve this problem? The major tool was agriculture. Agriculture, we begin to see agriculture as a tool for development, as a tool for rehabilitation. And looking at the SDG Goal 8, that has to do with decent work and economic growth, we saw that we could really, inform those people who are seeking for a second chance that when you get out of this prison facility, what next? What can you hold on to? Some have been there for 10 years or more, maybe less, but the fact is, when you get out of that facility, the first thing most of them will want to look into is how to survive. and how do they, go about life. What would be that tool to integrate or to blend, back to the society and all of that. So we saw that agriculture could play that role. So what we had to do was we wrote a letter to the controller as of last year in Ogun State, the Nigerian Correctional Service. We had to do the official processes, and we give God the glory. We give God the glory with the fact that we got an approval to go in there and educate and teach these people how the modern agriculture, the climate smart agriculture is being done. So we started that journey since last year. It's not been easy, and we had an agreement. So we had to fix a date. We had to put up our team together. We had volunteers from different units, and I would say the volunteers were wonderful people. The administrative team were awesome, and I sincerely appreciate my team members. They did a good job, an excellent job. So we had a 3-day training at Oba custodian and Nigerian Correctional Service, Oba custodian facility. Oba is located in Ogun State, in Abeokuta Ogun State, and of course our organization is based in Ogun State as well. So we fixed the dates in March, 18th of March to 20th of March, and because we wanted to really do a practical exercise, rather, we had to source for funds, so that we could have more like a farm setup inside the prison facility. So we reached out to the in charge and the chief of the prison facility, together with the DCP in charge of Agric. So when we got to the prison facility, we had an inspection within the premises. So in that premises, we were able to carve out a 6-meter by 24-meter land space where we could set up this farm. So because this is more like the first of its kind that we are doing, so the basic thing we needed to achieve was the interest of these people in there, because the fact is a lot of them, they are there for different reasons. There are some who are there on trial, there are some who are there on death row, there are some who are there for life, and there are some who are convicted. There are different. When you get there, when you get to visit a prison facility, you get to understand better. So this session is majorly on our journey so far. So what we did was to identify these people based on their sections and those who will be available to train. As of the time when we visited Abeokuta, the Oba prison facility, when we had the training, we had about 985 inmates as of the time when we had the training, but now it has reduced as of today. The number of people go in and come in almost every day. So we were able to carve out that space with the help of the prison staffs, and I would say the prison staffs, in fact, a lot of people would say different things about the Nigerian correctional and the Nigerian correctional warders, but the fact is the one we had to work with, during the period of our training, and as of this point, they were awesome. Honestly, they were awesome. They attended to us. In fact, I would say they practically gave us basic orientation to educate us on how the institution worked, and also we were able to we understood from their perspective they educated us on how to interact with the inmates. Honestly, it's not like you out the way you do things outside. When you come in there, it's a different atmosphere, but trust me, you would want to pay them a visit. It's actually a nice place to be. The place is clean, the place is awesome, and they are really doing a good job. They're really doing a good job in all our facility. Yes, so I applaud them. So back to our journey. So far we were able to, after mapping out where the farm structure will be, we were also able to install, because it's a climate smart agriculture, and because we want to test run this as more like our first practice in a facility like that. So what we did was, our company, which is Metallic Integrated Technology, is specializes more on greenhouse setup, greenhouse construction. So initially we wanted to set up a greenhouse, but we had to do an evaluation to review and see that instead of setting up a greenhouse first, why not run an open field with an irrigation setup, then see the result of that and you upscale. That was what we looked at, which was a brilliant idea. So that was why we were able to map out a 6 by 24 meter. So I haven't done that when we got to map out that. So we set up a scaffolder that has about 1,500 liter tank. Yes, that was what we did, and we could achieve this with the help of our donors. It was not easy, to put up all those structures, the input and all of that, and our donors, our partner, which our partner did more like an excellent job to support us and to ensure that we were able to achieve our major goal. So after the scaffolder was installed, we had a plumber who came in and also did the plumbing connection for us. So having done that, we did that like a week before the training dates, so we had a training between 18th to 20th of March. It was a 3-day training, and the training was awesome. So in this 3-day training, the day one, we had more like we had a mental well-being awareness session with the inmates that were present during this training, and we could achieve this with the help of Art of the Living, who came all the way. The representative from Art of the Living came all the way from Lagos Happiness Center, and they had a session with the inmates where they had to do physical yoga exercise in order to relax their mind, and so they could also be in a good state of mind to listen to us. Like I said, dealing with ordinary people could be challenging. Talk more of dealing with people who are special. You understand? So that was what we did. That was our approach. We were able to bring this organization who came in, and it was an excellent session. In fact, that approach made our job very, very easy, because when we communicate, they respond. Including myself, I was present. I did the exercise. I was very relaxed. We never even knew when we had spent about 1-2 hours, because we didn't really feel it. Our mind was free. We also made them relax their mind. A lot of them have so much in their head, so much in their mind, so many things to pour. But that alone was able to help them relax their mind. Then afterwards, we now had them divided into clusters. So when they were divided into clusters, we had about 6 facilitators. We had about 3 clusters, 2 facilitators to a cluster. So during their session, they were able to teach them and educate them what climate smart agriculture is all about and why they should begin to see light and also see agriculture as an option, agriculture as a tool for them to develop themselves. So after that session, that was the major thing we had that first day. So because we already had a structure in place, we came with we provided the inputs they would use for a circle. We also ensure that all the necessary facilities were available. The trellising pipe was already installed, and the mulching film was already available. There was all to build ridges because it's an open field, so we did soil base. We were also able to connect. The drip tape was available and the accessories and everything. So the next day was purely practical. So everybody moved to the field. With the 3 clusters we had, we were able to now assign these clusters to different responsibility. Some of them were in charge of cutting out the mulching film. Some of them were, because we're also running through the galvanized wire for them to stick, which will help them to stick. We had some people doing that. We had some people building the bed, where they would lay the mulching film, they would lay the irrigation the drip tape before the mulching film and all of that. So we had them in group. The job was very fast because of the numbers we had in there, so everybody was working. So to some of them, there were few of them who already had knowledge about farming. They had knowledge about agriculture, but the modern agriculture is more it's new to some of them, to most of them. So they wanted to understand how would this thing work. Rain was not falling at that point in time. It was not raining season per se. They wanted to understand how would this thing work. So the interest was there. In fact, amongst few of them, they were doubting that this thing, it will not work, it will not last. So the idea was that on the last day, we were going to have more like a 30 minutes class. Then we'll move back to the field to transplant. So what we did was that before then, we were able to sow seed at the Soilless Farm Lab. So after sowing the seed, you need about 28 days before you get to transplant. So we had done that already. So we came with the seedlings, because if we were to start sowing seed, we might not really achieve our aim. And we also we believe that we could not just teach them everything within the 3 days. So we now had to, we provided the seedlings and we transplanted over 240 seedlings on the 3rd day. So we arrived in the morning, very early in the morning. We had a session, a 30-minute session with them after a session with the warders, because we had almost all staff had interest to understand what this modern agriculture was all about. So we had a session with the staffs too, because they are not left out. So we had to educate them. We wanted everybody to be involved. So the interest was so high. Everybody wanted to understand what this thing is all about. So after their session, we had to come back in the evening to transplant because of the weather. We could not just transplant in the afternoon. So we came back in the evening, we transplanted. And what we now did was, on that same 3rd day, we were able to create group leaders. So, and these group leaders were really helpful. It was also one of the means of communication for us. They were very, very helpful. We also educated them more on the inputs, the nutrient application. We also drew more like a timetable for them, when to fertigate, when to do the needful. when they get to spray their pesticides and all of that. So these were the basic thing we did on the last day as well. And one of the major things we also do is to visit the prison facility every week. We do that every week. We provided a book where they could also write reports. One thing most people don't understand is that in this generation now, agriculture has gone beyond when you just do things and you do things out of imagination. No, it's important to take record. It's one of the norm. That's one of the major things we do as modern farmers. You get to take record. When we visit there every week, we look at their record. We look at what they have done. Then we also look at the plans together with them. So some still give us their own observation, we look into it, and we work together. So far, I can say maybe in my next video, I would also be sharing with you on our last visits. The fact is, the 240 plants are doing well. That's a good news. And the inmates, they really, in fact, I would say I was really impressed. And thank God we took this step to test run, more like a demonstration farm. And we've seen the commitment, we've seen their efforts. So we can now do more. So now we are thinking of setting up a proper screen house and a shade house in the facility. So at this point, at the next circle, we can now introduce other vegetables like bell pepper, cucumber. Say we had habanero already, well, we're still going to repeat habanero again, and we'll have cucumber, we'll have bell pepper, and with time, we'll begin to introduce other crops, other vegetables, even onions and all of that. So I know there are questions like, when you get to harvest, what next? What do you do with the produce? We have about 240 plant stands, and approximately we're looking at harvesting close to a ton for a cycle. So if we're going to do close to a ton for a cycle, what are we going to do with this vegetable, with this pepper, when we're going to harvest them? That is more like the second phase of this journey. And in the month of June, we'll be having a session with them where we would now educate them on agribusiness. They need to understand that this thing is not just charity. This thing is not just educating us on how to plant. They need to understand that even when I find myself out of this facility in the future or soon or tomorrow, I can fall back to this because there is a possibility that I could earn. That's the essence of doing this. The knowledge is important, the skill is important, but business is also important. It shows that what you are doing is sustainable. So, but we know that because they are within the four walls of this facility, there are limitations to what they can do and limitations to how they could exercise themselves. So what we do is we would come to educate them on the agro business, and we also want to achieve success in this journey where the resources that was made available to put up this particular farm, we want to ensure that the farm itself can run itself. So which means that the vegetable that we're going to harvest will go to the market. Yes, it will go to the market, and when it gets to the market, fund will come back to prepare them for the second cycle. So when this particular farm can fund itself, it shows we have succeeded. We are still on the journey. Yeah, we'll get there, of course. We'll get there, of course. And we know there are so many people, individuals and groups, that also want to support what we are doing. And we are going to put our email on our bio. Our email is on our bio. You could reach out to us at any point in time. Contact would also be here. You can reach out to support this practice in the prison facility. We want to reach out to as many prison facilities as we can. There are so many things we need to do that. It's not easy for we to transport ourselves there all the time. We struggle with these things, but we keep doing that because we know everybody deserves a second chance. And as long as they are ready to do this, there should be platforms where they could leverage on. You know, this is more like the major reasons why we're doing this. You know, it's a way to improve the standard of living. And also, most of us out here, we know how we struggle with food insecurity. Yes. Which means the number of inmates we get to empower with this modern agricultural skills would also contribute to combat food insecurity. That is what it means. So when production is done in their space and they bring them outside, we bring them outside to uptake and we send them to the market. Indirectly, they've contributed to, you know, help us fight food insecurity, which is also one of our primary goals we want to achieve. You know, so I think it's something you could think about to say, we love what you're doing, we want to journey with you, we want to be part of you. And our doors are open to organizations, to individual who would want to say, I want to be part of this story, I want to be part of this journey, I want to join hands with you to help rehabilitate these people through the tool as agriculture. You know, we have more than 200 prison facilities, and so far we strongly believe that as long as we follow the basic steps, we'll be able to cut across these facilities. We will be able to do that, and subsequent times we're going to be explaining more of what we are doing, and we're going to be giving you more like a weekly report. In the next few weeks we'll be ready for harvest, and I can say we have about two companies who are ready to pick our off-takers, which means the market is going to be flexible, you know, for we to access, you know, and this off-takers will make it very easy for us to, you know, sell out this produce, so that when we get to sell this produce, we would have resources to save, and we'll have resources to reward the hands that made this thing happen in the facility there, because it's also one of the things we'll do. The healthcare system needs to be supported in the facility. There is a library in the facility, it needs to be supported. You know, when we make all these things available, you know, most people will say, let the government do it. We're also part of the government. We can do our own part. The little we can do counts, you know, and the fact is, when those who would have the opportunity to leave that facility, and when they come out of that facility, they should have something to fall back to. They should have, even though it's going to be a long-term thing, they should have something to say, okay, there is a skill I have. I've been able to farm for 2 years when I was there. I've been able to farm for 10 years when I was there. Imagine somebody who have been able to practice for, let's say, 6 years, and the person understand how the business works. I think if he or she is in that right senses, I believe they would want to stick to that. They want to practice outside. They want to engage, because one of the things we also intend to do is when they get to come out, we can also be a support system to enlighten them more and to direct their path. It's also one thing. We might not be able to, might not have the ability to say, oh, you're out, you're good, take this or do this or go here or provide this, or might not be able to do that now. Maybe in the future, we pray we should be able to do have a structure or where they can leverage on. But from our own end, from now, we believe that when they get to come out, one of the major things is we get to educate more. We can't teach them everything there because there are some things they can't have access to. But for now, we should be able to, educate them, like I said. And when they get out of the facility, we should be able to also share the knowledge and support and guide them through. For those who would say, oh, I have fixed assets and what can I do? We should be able to consult and help them understand the risks, the timing, and their target audience and what they should work on. So these are some of the things that we have been doing so far. Like I said, we promise we are going to always have a weekly review, not just the weekly review about Blown Behind Bars. Also, we are also going to be having reports, to our audience, and we are also going to carry us along and also when we are moving to other prison facilities, we would also be explaining, because we know that we are based in Abeokuta. This prison facility is in Abeokuta, and we have people in Lagos who have also reached out to us to see, oh, when will you guys come to Lagos? We had in Abuja, we have in Kaduna, so we are going to cut across different facilities, and we hope that before then will carry us along, tell us, oh, now we've been able to cover this place, so we're able to cover this place, because it's not easy. We cannot be everywhere. So we'll get to a point where we're going to call for volunteers. We're going to call for ambassadors, people that can also serve as educator, that can also be available to serve. So these are some of the things that we have there, and we strongly believe that Nigeria is going to be a better place. There are people who are in this system, they found themselves here where they are. There is hope, and as long as there is life, there is hope. So thank you so much for those who have been reaching out. We really appreciate. I might not want to mention names, because trust me, a lot of people, we saw your comments, we saw your contributions, and we saw your supports. For those who even reposted us, honestly, it's a big thank you to you all for what you've done. And I would want to say a special thank you to Pepsi Place Limited, our supporter and also our partner in this race. It has not been easy. Pepsi didn't just partner or supported us, but they also made themselves available to coach us. I would say that honestly, and I really want to say thank you, a big thank you to my mentors, who have also been there whenever I call on them, and they always give me this word of advice that when I work with them, I begin to see that is it magic? It works like miracle. I want to say thank you to my very I will always say a special person to me, Miss Sandra Atta, for always advising, and she has always been there from day one when we started discussing about the prison project. since last year. She has always guided us and explained on how we should take our steps. Miss Sandra, thank you so much for your support. Miss Sandra is the business development manager of Soilless Farm Lab. I'll say thank you so much for all you've been doing. Thank you, ma'am. And I also want to say thank you to one of my mentors too, Mr. Paul Okwara, who is the SMO of Soilless Farm Lab as well. I want to say thank you, sir. I'm so happy for your time. In fact, there are times when we even chat at night and when we even see one-on-one, you try to always explain in details on some of the things we get to do, and also encouraging us that Osita, this is a nice thing, this is something we need to do, and also explaining some of the basic steps we need to take. It's amazing having you as a mentor, sir. Thank you so much. And I also want to say a shout out to my business coach, Mrs. Johan. Thank you so much, ma, for always supporting me, and thank you for always you're always there to always coach me. I remember the last time I was at the office and we spoke for long, and you actually educated me on what I should keep doing. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, man, that you've done. Thank you so much, man. God bless you. And like I said, I might not be able to mention everybody's name. There are some of my friends and my colleagues in Abuja. There are some in Lagos. There are some in Port Harcourt. There are some in Enugu. And there are some in Ibadan. There are some even in Abeokuta. I would want to say thank you so much for the support, for supporting the team. On behalf of the team, we say thank you. And most especially, I want to say a shout out to my mentor too, Mr. Deji Uju. You've been one of those people who would scold me and tell me, Anthony, you need to do this thing this way, get to do it like this and like that. And I listen to you, sir. I see what you do, sir. I am so grateful. You've been with me right from right from Enactors. Yes, right from Enactors. Let me use it that way, which is from 2013, 2014. You've always been there, even till date. I could, even though I know you're not in Nigeria, and our time, there's a time difference, but there are times when I get to message you, I'll be surprised that you're awake and you still respond to also listen and also redirect me as well. I'll say thank you, sir. And most importantly, like I said, everybody is important, but I want to make mention of my father and my mentor, Thomas Samson Obole, for your time, most especially, and also for your support. So I would not want, I don't, sometimes I try to look for the best way to quantify how to express myself, but it's a blessing, sir. It's a blessing for the support and for also encouraging me. Sometimes especially when I'm going through a lot, because we actually go through a lot. It has not been easy for many points in time, but when we go through a lot, oh my God, sir, I look at how you've been able to build an ecosystem, and I tell myself, Rosita, we will do this. We are not giving up. If there is no resources will come, because we are hardworking, we have potentials, and we will not just stop there. We'll just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and until we get there. So I really appreciate everything you've done. I'm so grateful. I feel blessed. I feel blessed and fulfilled, and I know the journey is very, very far, and I know that I will get there because somebody like you also believed in us. Thank you so much, sir. And I want to say a very big shout out to my friends and my brother, Diplomat Abraham Onoja. In fact, the love you share most times, sometimes I just look at myself and I say, God, thank you for the gifts of friendship. Thank you for the gift of relationship. You know, thank you so much, sir, for all you've done, all you do, and you know, the times when you reach out to me and you say, Anthony, this thing has to be done. There are ways you see it, and I just feel like I am being recharged, like something that will just reboost my system. Like, yes, I can do this. I will make it work. And a shout out to all my team members. Our members are increasing. Volunteers are coming in. I want to say thank you for everybody for supporting, even financially, even emotionally, even psychologically, and with your effort and your time. I sincerely appreciate you. I want to say a big shout out to my very good friend Anna Williams for also your support, and thank you so much. Your organization came, Agri Wellness Network System. You came and you also had a mental well-being session too with the inmates. Yes, they came on the last day, and in fact, I wish we had more time for their session, and I believe we're still going to have more. So thank you so much, Anna, for coming with your team members, on the 20th of March. God bless you. And I will say a big shout out to Happiness Center. Thank you so much, Happiness Center. Thank you, Out of the Living, for reaching out to us, for coming. They came all the way from Lagos. They left their comfort zone. They came to the farm on the Tuesday, on a Monday. Then Tuesday, they moved from the Soilless Farm Lab straight to the prison facility. So we'll say thank you. We're going to be having more sessions. We're going to be dropping updates time to time. This is a long journey. We have more than 200 prison facilities, and imagine the numbers we have in Africa and how far we can go. So I think it's a lifetime journey. Yes, it is. And we know the structure is solid, the vision is bigger, and we will definitely get there. So thank you so much, everyone. If you have
na inside fire them put us ang mga wala kulu them they kill us ala egwengula achamalung tulu patala insulu tara. You can imprison my body, but you not go fit to capture my soul. Ngolo wala kele bale, but you not go fit to kill my soul. You can imprison my body, but you not go fit to capture my soul. Ngolo wala kele bale, you not go fit to kill my soul.
It's